Right, so this time we're at Kandanga Farm store, and I've been given the back of the truck with these old cinema seats, so we're going up in life. Got Vernon in the back of the truck with me, and he's a grazing specialist with regards to regenerative farming side of things. Hi Dan.
How you doing?
Good, thanks. You did a great speech before. So tell us what you are doing and why you're doing it, and anything else that's in between.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me up here this afternoon. We just did a speech on a talk on regenerative grazing and carbon farming. We actually started with our property in 2004, and we just noticed a lot of different stuff in ground cover, and our ground cover was starting to diminish and our soils were starting to get affected by that. So we actually sort of started looking into a more regenerative, holistic approach. Yeah, started moving our cattle into cells, into smaller paddocks. So we sort of over 2,400 hectares, we started with about 10 paddocks, and now in 10 years we're up to about 85 paddocks and planning to get that to 100 paddocks. So that gets the rest into our country.
That's phenomenal. So that obviously takes a lot of work.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work, a lot of planning. We've got regenerative grazing principles we follow. So making sure that we plan and monitor that, manage our grass, make sure it's growing, getting time to rest and regenerate, making sure we're matching our stocking rate to our carrying capacity, and maximising our density into our country.
And this changes all the time with the seasons and the climate, and sometimes we have rain and some years we don't.
Yeah, yep.
So you're managing all that?
Yeah, definitely. We use a lot of grazing tools, a grazing chart from RCS, Rural Consulting Services. We use the grazing chart, and we work on a rolling rainfall, so we can actually predict and forward predict when we're going to have a dry time. So we can match our stocking rate to our carrying capacity with those tools.
And I presume then this is less stressful on the animals as well?
Definitely, and less stressful on people as well.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So and how does it affect your meat production then with this type of grazing?
Well, it's all, we're certified organic, so there's no chemicals going onto our land or onto our cattle. We manage our cattle effectively, so using low stress principles. So yeah, we're getting a clean green product out the other end and caring for our land at the same time.
And you still have to do things like vaccination and worming and things like that as well?
And we've got some vaccinations there that we do use, that are allowed to use under our protocol of organics.
Yeah.
With our rotational grazing, giving the rest into our country, it allows a lot of that country and helps with worm cycles and tick cycles.
Yeah, because you were talking about that you've got a long list of things that could possibly go wrong.
You can, yeah, you have got a lot of things that could go wrong, but yeah, you've got to actually make sure that you can do what we do without those products.
Yeah, okay, so the diversity of what your cattle is eating, the way that you are handling them, the environment that they're in. So, yep. I mean, you've obviously shrunk your paddocks down, but they don't seem to be more stressed because of that small area. Why is that?
No, they get used to it. They get used to being moved, and the paddocks get more time to rest, and they get more time for the grass to recover and regenerate.
Okay.
So they're going into a fresh paddock of feed all the time, and that works on rainfall. So it mightn't be as fresh as it should be in a non-growing season, but the grass is fresher. So they're actually looking for that nice feed to go into, and they're a lot easier to handle.
And how are you going with the whole weeds? Do you have any trouble there?
Yeah, our weeds are woody weeds, so we get a few woody weeds coming through our country. But in noticing in our heavy density, those cattle are actually starting to browse those weeds now.
Yeah, okay.
And control the weeds with the cattle.
Yeah. All right. And the importance then with regards to the quality of the meat then that you're producing, it's obviously of a much higher standard.
It is higher standard because it is grass-fed, so we're actually helping the animal be healthy all its life. We're helping our soils be healthy. We're getting healthier ecosystems, and we're getting healthier people out of it. So at the end of the day, our beef is sort of basically clean, green product.
Is it grass finished as well?
Grass finished as well, yeah. So there's no grain and no heavy inputs going into those cattle. So the meat we sell privately and through our local butcher, it is all grass-fed and grass-finished cattle.
All right. And this has a huge benefit to the environment and your land as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. If you can keep ground cover on your pastures, on your land, you're going to sequester more water retention. You're going to sequester carbon out of that soil, and there's benefits now that you can capitalise on with the carbon sequestration.
So if you don't have any rain for a season or 2 or 3 or 4, how does it affect you now?
We go back to our grazing principles and we look at number 3 and make sure we have our stocking rate is matching our carrying capacity. So our carrying capacity is what our country is producing, which is grass, and our stocking rate is what we put on top. So if we have too many stock on top, our country is not going to produce. So if it is dry, we can destock and we can look making sure we match our stocking rate to our carrying capacity.
Okay, and that's a really, really important bit, isn't it?
Very important bit to keep that ground cover. Ground cover to us is key. It's number 1 for us.
Yeah. Well, thank you, and thank you for your little presentation, and I've really enjoyed learning about your land and country and what you're doing. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, of course.